In Lost Ark, the Gunner class is going to offer you 4 different subclasses that are going to vary on their play styles and the different type of ranged weapon that they prefer to use. First one is the Sharpshooter, which is going to use a bow and arrow as its primary weapon. This class is going to combine decent mobility with strong ranged abilities and some melee abilities thrown in here or there. You're going to be managing your distance a lot with this class, closing the distance to use your melee abilities, but quickly creating distance after you use those abilities so you can go back to using your range. While you're at range, you're going to have a lot of tools at your disposal to help keep your enemies at a distance. Many of your arrow abilities are going to have knockback on them, pushing the enemies away, and you'll have abilities like your Claymore, which are going to completely knock your enemies down. On top of these abilities that are going to limit your enemy's movement, you're also going to have some abilities that are going to up your own movement. You could use these to close the gap if you want to get up close and personal, or create distance if the enemies are getting a little too close to you. Combining your CC attacks and your mobility are going to help you really be effective at setting up a lot of your AoE attacks or your more powerful charged up attacks. As you're fighting, the bar on the bottom of your screen is going to fill up, and once it's full, you're going to be able to call in your companion, which is a hawk. Once the hawk is active, it's going to automatically start attacking your enemies on its own, but you'll also get 2 abilities alongside of it. The first one is going to send in your hawk to the area of your choosing and cause it to spin in a circle, doing a bunch of AoE damage to your enemies. And the second one is actually going to send in your hawk where it's going to go on a suicide mission, blowing itself up and doing massive damage. As you get into the later levels, you're going to be able to lean more into these 2 abilities, allowing you to choose between gaining more buffs while your hawk is active or sacrificing your hawk more often for big burst damage. If you like moving around and kiting your enemies, then the Sharpshooter might be the class for you. But if you want something a little more versatile, we're going to look at the Gunslinger and the Deadeye. These classes are going to be really versatile and do a lot of damage, but they're a bit less mobile than the Sharpshooter. The Gunslinger and the Deadeye are essentially just male and female versions of the same class, so I'm going to combine them. There are a few differences, but I'm going to get into those later. Picking these classes is going to give you access to 3 different weapons that you can swap to at will. The first one is going to be your dual pistols. These are going to be fast-firing weapons that are good at mid-range and offer you quite a few AoE attacks that cover everything from explosives to plasma balls that go through enemies to just spraying a fan of bullets in front of you. While you have your pistols equipped, you'll also have access to some good mobility, allowing you to jump around and reposition effectively while doing damage. Swapping off of the pistols, next we're going to be looking at the shotgun. As you could probably guess, the shotgun is going to be really ideal for close range, big burst damage. You're not going to have a lot of mobility with your shotgun, but you are going to be able to dish out some good damage when things get up close and personal. So if people get up in your face, don't be afraid to switch off to this and then pop off a couple of your abilities. On the other hand, when you're at range, you're going to want to switch to your rifle. Since a lot of your abilities are going to penetrate through enemies, this weapon's going to be really good at actually damaging targets that are lined up in front of you. You can also use your abilities to keep enemies at bay for a short time. Going back to the differences between the Gunslinger and the Deadeye, the Gunslinger is going to tend to lean a little bit more into the shotgun, where the Deadeye is going to tend to be a little bit more reliant on the rifle. These differences aren't huge, so if you're looking for a character that requires a lot of ability management, you can't go wrong with either of these classes. If you're looking for something a little bit more explosive, we are going to be moving on to the Artillerist, who decided to use a massive cannon slash minigun thing as his weapon. This thing is massive, so it slows him down quite a bit, and it's going to make him the least mobile out of all the gunner classes. But for what he lacks in mobility, he's going to make up for good range and big damage. On this class, your abilities are usually going to be either in the form of fan attacks that are going to hit a wide area of enemies, artillery strikes that are going to cause an AoE explosion, or quick damaging attacks that are going to hit multiple enemies. A lot of these attacks are either going to slow or completely prevent you from moving, but what's nice is that you have a good bit of CC in your kit to help you set up your big damage. You're going to be able to slow your enemy's movement speed, leave areas on the battlefield that enemies have to avoid or they take damage, or if people get a little too close, you can just push them away. While you're fighting, you're going to want to be paying attention to this gauge in the middle of your screen. It's going to fill up as you're fighting, and the different colors are actually going to give you different boosts. If you get it up to the orange area, it's going to give you a 10% damage boost. A purple is going to give you a 20% damage boost, and if you fill it up all the way, you're going to get a 30% damage boost for a short time before it resets back down to 0. Once you fill it up completely once, it's going to give you access to your artillery mode. Once you activate this, you're going to man a massive cannon and be completely immobilized. This is where you're really going to see the artillerist firepower. The new abilities that you're going to be granted are going to allow you to do massive AoE damage to anything on your screen, and even your primary attack is going to demolish enemies around you. This mode is extremely fun if you like blowing stuff up, but if you're looking for something that's a little bit more melee based, be sure to check out the assassin class right here. I hope this was helpful. If it was, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as check out the Twitch stream down in the description below. My name is Marcus, and thanks for watching.